So we just finished watching that. That was one of the craziest episodes that we've gotten solely because of that ending. We want to dive into this, but first, of course, make sure you're liking, make sure you're following, make sure you're doing everything you can. Of course, I'm Busy Braun. You can see more of my videos, of course, not only on my channel, but of course on TikTok. But for now, I'm just excited to dive into this. Um, wow. So there was so much that happened in this episode, whether it was like relationships falling apart or seeing development of characters such as Manheim, who we haven't seen in a little bit. Like I didn't expect to see him in this season because the main thing about this is we knew that we were getting a little bit of a decrease. We knew that we were going to see less actors, less characters. Just it was going to be less episodes, all that stuff. So to see a little scene with not just Manheim, but of course Lois is a pretty big deal because not only did they have their entire thing in season 3, and of course Manheim just being fueled by rage and just there was so much to it, but the relationship with Priya and Lois, excuse me, what am I saying? It was just really beautiful to watch, and to see her kind of go out of her way and to go to him now in her time of need was a really interesting thing, a way to handle things. I didn't know how that was gonna go. I thought he was just gonna turn her away, but it was interesting for sure. But of course, we actually got to see him grow. We got to see him do things that I honestly didn't think we would see, and such as him helping Lois or him actually saying like, "I'm glad Superman's alive." Like he was just saying things I would have never expected, and made me really really excited to see like well, just to see what they're gonna do with him next, I mean, or not with him next, but to see what they're gonna do with this show next. Because if they're willing to do things like that, like I feel like they're gonna close on a really good note. I mean, the writing in this show has been a lot better than I feel like not just season 3, but I don't know. They even though we expected a decrease, they've taken a step up. If that makes any sense, and they've truly killed it. But on top of that, we got to see a little bit of more action between Amanda and of course Lois. I believe her name is Amanda, right? But of course her believing that she can fix Lex, and then of course it being a whole different situation where um she ended up realizing that Cheryl was in the same position that she was in, and when Lex was tired of her, he just kind of threw her away. And I don't know, I do like how even though we only have a few episodes, or like just this last episode, they were able to kind of like speed things up without it feeling extremely forced. This is something that they could have done episodes ago, but it makes sense for them to do it in the final episode, so we get just everything can get kind of wrapped up in the few final moments, if you will. Of course, Milton has been a fun addition. Don't know how much more involved he's going to be in the next episode. But to see Doomsday again was a highlight for me because, of course, not only do I love the character, but they have done such a phenomenal job with Doomsday in both season 3 and season 4, in my opinion. And not only that, but they got his look down. And right when I think that this is as good as it's gonna get, they pull a stunt that they with what they did at the end of this episode. I can't even talk. I mean, that is full on comic book Doomsday. Like that is Doomsday, bro, and it's such a good look. And to see like what the white horns, and just everything that they did, it looked beautiful. And it was so impressive to see as someone who's been a huge fan of Superman, and not just that, but a fan of like his villains such as Doomsday, who I feel like has been done in some forms of media, but like at the same time, specifically live action, it hasn't always been amazing. But here, I've been in love with what we've gotten here, and I'm so excited to see more, and knowing that it's gonna lead into the next episode is insane, and that final moment with, of course, Clark saying to um the boys and his family, like remember I love you, like he thinks this is it. And with the beating that he was handed to him, like not even just in the beginning of the season, but here, like it looks like it might be, but obviously something's gonna happen to turn the tides into the next episode, which I'm really really excited. um I truly think like, and I am ready for this. Like I really need to see Steel and I believe Starlight in their full on, a new gear, right? But with an S on it. We got to get that logo on top of it because it sounded like they were gonna start from scratch. As that's just what it the dialogue sounded like in the last episode. So coming into this, I'm just that's where my head's at. Like if we got backup, if we got the Superboys with John and Nat, fighting with Superman to take out Lex and Doomsday, that would be such a duo, and I mean, such a big like team up, and I would love to see it, man. I'm really looking forward to it, and the fact that it's the finale, it makes sense for them to throw all their eggs in one basket and to go crazy. Like this is it. Next episode is it. I don't know how many characters are going to return to be in the finale. I'm sure we'll probably see Sarah or something, but I don't know how we're going to implement all these characters and make it seem natural. I'm sure it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it, but I'm here for it. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that I really liked was seeing the boys training, and of course they got their ass whipped, but then Clark was like, okay, no, I'll be the guy that you got to train. And or I'll be the guy that to train you. And of course he was whipping their ass. But when things actually came down and they actually had to step in and help Smallville, it was just really interesting to see how the boys were handling things separately. Like we have all of them. Of course, they're good at what they do. They're good at rescuing, and we're seeing that obviously. But to see Jordan, of course, be the guy to kind of come out of his shell, and of course, where we considering where we started and where we are now, his experience with not just his anxiety and all that, but like just with people as a whole, like just the socializing that he's done in the last few seasons has prepared him for different moments, like the one we see him here. We see him confronting and or consoling. What's the word? God, but he was making this woman feel better, and it was interesting to see the way he was handling that, but like the way he froze the cup so she could hold on to something cold, and he knew the big blast was coming, but he was like, okay, just come here. He held her and didn't make a big thing out of it, and it was just, I don't know, it just made me love his character so much more because of how considerate he was to her. He wasn't rushing her. He didn't just grab her and run out. He made her feel safe. And there was multiple moments in this episode where he sounded like his father. Like he sounded like Clark. And one of those moments is when they were referring to the civilians, and Jonathan was like, well, like it's not fair. These people don't even know what kind of danger they're in. They don't know what Lex is capable of, and then we have that more moment with Jordan where he's like, well, they don't have to. They're not the ones who need to fight him. Like, like it's not their job. It's our job, and just hearing him like kind of say something on the lines of that, it's just been so interesting to see how much he's grown. Like ever since he's taken a step back and he's kind of seen things from a different lens. It's been really, really interesting. And Jonathan, I don't fault him because he's like, again, he's brand new, so we haven't really had the rebellious phase with the abilities too much. But it's been really interesting to see them both kind of cope with things in their own way. But this has just been a phenomenal episode. They did such a good job to see the kind of the fallout of everything, but then to see the relationship between Amanda and Lex kind of fall apart has been really cool. Manheim, super cool to see him again. But again, I think the best part it was the end with the whole Smallville and the Doomsday attack and seeing everything there. Definitely a highlight for me, and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. You guys have been great. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and yeah, I think we're gonna end it there. We got one more episode, so I cannot wait to see how things kind of go down. But again, just thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Make sure you're following all of us. Make sure you're checking out not only just my content but Team JVS. Do what you can. And we look forward to dropping not only reactions but more reviews. So be ready, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.